the Fees Must Fall campaign intensified, I'm joined now in studio by Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Training, Mduduzi Manane. Minister, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Government has maintained that this is not a crisis. Do we still maintain that?
It is definitely a national crisis. These are noble struggles of students. Students are yearning for education. They want the state to intervene and fund them as we had committed that we will at some point fund free higher education. And I think the time has come that we as government reconsider, work on our plans, go back to the drawing board and find an amicable and lasting solution to these problems, but also work towards now implementing fee-free education. And this will require a lot of planning. It will require that we find money, where we're going to get the money. That should be the business of the state. And I think part of what the president wants to meet all stakeholders tomorrow on is around this very matter, that when do we start implementing what we had committed to our people.
So talk us through a possible framework for a feasibility of free education.
We require a lot of money. According to our own projections, at least to fund all poor and yet academically deserving students in the country, we need about 50 billion rands. This is money we do not have. The current budget of the department is sitting at around 40 billion rands. And we must fund everything from infrastructure, as we are talking about expansion, to obviously student funding and many other projects that falls within the ambit of higher education and training. So we need a lot of money. And I think our preoccupation now going forward, having learned from these protests and this development, is to really sit around the table, sit with the National Treasury, guided of course and led by the President, on how we can find this money in line with our commitment of really making education an apex priority. So if we make education an apex priority, it means we must prioritize education. This calls also for reprioritization. Where do we get money from other projects? Where do we say, fine, the economy is not doing so well, let's stop with other projects and focus on specific projects that are of national interest, but also projects that we've made a national priority as a government and as a country.
Then how does the 6% cap come into this? Because students have rejected that cap. Talk us through what this means for parents and students in terms of living costs, tuition fees, hostels. Take us through the 6% cap.
The 6% cap, by the way, is a major intervention because we had to intervene. You will remember that it is not government that came up with these hikes. It's the universities. But we had to come in when this impasse started and said, no, let's talk. We brought student leaders, we brought university vice chancellors, and we agreed that let's reduce this, let's have this cap of 6%, which will set us back by 1.3 billion. But in our meeting with vice chancellors and student leaders, we agreed that between the Department of Higher Education and Training and universities, we must go and find this 1.3 billion because obviously there are many academic projects that have to be carried out and they base those academic projects on the student fees. So we said we'll find the 1.3 billion. So we went down to 6% from the 10% that was actually proposed by universities. Now, at a point when we communicated with, at a point when this decision was communicated to the different constituencies around the 6% cap, it was rejected by the students. And we are saying we cannot be static. If there is no consensus on the matter, we must then go back and look at what is possible. From where we are sitting, as a department, we do not have the money to do this work. And that is why we had to escalate this matter to the President so that he then guides us, he provides the necessary direction so that we arrest this current impasse. Hence the meeting tomorrow, where the President has called Vice Chancellors, Council Chairpersons, has called student leaders. We are part of that meeting. In fact, it was escalated by us to say we have intervened up to this point of 6% cap. But if there is a general view and a consensus by students that actually they want a 0% hike, then the President will have to direct and instruct National Treasury and ourselves to actually find this 2.6 billion, which will set back universities in terms of carrying out their academic project if it is going to be imposed in that way.
Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Training, Mduduzi Manane, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you indeed.